Since the dawn of man, humanity's greatest minds have tried to breach the barrier between the material world and the conscious. Democritus from ancient Greece speculated that everything, including the soul and experience, was made of atoms. Then came Plato, who claimed the soul was an immaterial entity that pre-existed life and survived death. Aristotle saw the middle ground in saying sentience emerged from the body but was not reducible to matter. Even further back, and the Indian Upanishads claim Atman is fundamental, while the Buddha thought consciousness arrives dependently. All of these differing viewpoints from the strongest of intellects. All of these foundational questions unresolved to this day. So, who was on the right track?
Game begin.
You've been watching this video for a total of 63 seconds without having clicked off, hopefully, onto any other platform. If I manage to keep a hold of your attention by writing about nonsense, using fancy moving visuals, and feeding your curiosity, YouTube's automatic sorting system is fed positive information about my video's performance. Thank you for that, by the way. It also signals a positive reception about your personalised algorithm, letting the YouTube dictate great people. They're great people. All I care about is generating ad revenue for their shareholders, so they will receive that positive feedback about the content being suggested to you, in turn suggesting content of a similar facet again, and maybe even my own. Lucky you. The point I'm getting at here is that the line of so-called autonomous decision-making you followed to get to this video was gamed by algorithms coded by only around a few hundred clever people in glass buildings. And they're all fucking nerds. I'm sure you've heard it all before, but just to reiterate, once more, for the millionth time over, there was very little of you in the making of that decision. And the same could be said for life in general, really. Because if you just pull at the red thread, you'll notice that there is no caramelized center making your choices. Instead, decisions mostly happen to you. They happen to you through lots and lots of circumstance and only a smidgen of agency. Or in some cases, none at all. And that puts everything into question, really. What is the point of it all if we're all just subject to random causes we can't explain? Perhaps you had a bad night's sleep, or you're just hungry. The hormone ghrelin is released in abundance, telling your stomach that it's empty. Your insulin spikes after you eat something calorie-dense as a result, causing hypoglycemia. That hypoglycemia causes you to feel irritable, lethargic, and hungry once again. You shout at your spouse. You don't pet the cat. You're not even the master of your own thoughts, let alone your life. But before I go further with this, I must warn you. This isn't the classic sxrawn shouts at the viewer about particle physics he doesn't understand and viewer listens sort of video. The allure to spirituality or meditation is that nobody can do it for you. It's a lonely pursuit. It is a journey of one. You must do the hard work, and you must do the introspection. In order for me to help you do so, I need to borrow your full and unwavering attention for the next few minutes, alright? No scrolling while watching a YouTube video, you fucking degenerates. Switch off all electronic devices that you might have and tune out all and any noise from the outside world.
Game over.
Grab a pen and paper from nearby, or use the Notes app on your phone if you're a lazy bastard for the following exercise. Jot down as specifically as you can what you think will happen to you once you physically die. You may pause the video for this. You can be as comprehensive as you'd like with your answer, but a minimum of 2 sentences are needed. Alright, thank you for obliging, and for the lazy amongst you who just thought about your answer, I'm fucking watching you. But now, on the screen should be a few questions, of which I'll give you 5 seconds to answer, if I've edited correctly, that is. You may also pause for these if you'd like. Jot down your answers. Many thanks for answering these. You've done well. Just hold your answers wherever you like. We'll circle back soon. For the last one, imagine you have been given $1 million and you are placed in a room with a slider of 0 to 1 million. You are told that in the room next to yours is a poor man with a wife and 2 children struggling to make ends meet. His child is a prodigy with the piano but cannot afford a keyboard or piano lessons. The man is also in debt for $750,000 after a few bad decisions at the casino and sports betting. Thanks, Ilya Taporia. He stopped gambling though, and anything he makes in the room goes towards the debt till it's absolved. He has no power to challenge you. He must accept your sum. Jot down the money you would keep, trying your best to be as honest as possible. It's for the sake of experiment. So for the penultimate question, fucking love that word by the way. Imagine that the country you reside in is preparing for the outbreak of a strange disease that isn't at all linked to any current world events, set to kill 600 people. 2 solutions from your advisor have been proposed. Solution A is to guarantee the saving of 200 of the 600 people. Solution B is that there is a 1/3 chance that everybody lives and a 2/3 chance that everybody dies. Jot down or make a mental note of the solution you would pick. For the last question then, a woman has been arrested and charged with minor drug dealing. One singular trade amounting to $50, but of a Class A narcotic. She has no prior record and there's no evidence that she sold drugs other than that one instance. She was also cooperative with the authorities. Your job is to set the bail amount for her release while she awaits trial, which typically ranges from $100 to $2,500. Remember, however, that you can pick any value, so jot down your dollar amount, or again, make a mental note if you're a lazy piece of shit. You must not change your answers from now. Okay, that was fun, wasn't it? More work than you thought you'd be getting on a lazy afternoon, so let me give you the satisfying part now. The point of it all. Firstly, the section about what you think happens to you when you die. That was the setup. Your answer doesn't particularly matter, but the goal is to get you thinking comprehensively about your own death. Simple enough. Secondly, I hit you with a few personality questions, getting you to answer with ratios. That was my delay period. I needed an air gap between the thought about death and then answering the questions from my last section, so the thought of death could marinate in your subconscious, which is where it's strongest. So I made you note down your answer so as to sediment the thought there. I thus needed you to think hard for the delay questions, so I used 2 strategies. Number 1, put numbers in that bitch. Numbers are conducive to final answers or rights and wrongs in mathematics. You likely put a little bit more effort into thinking about your answers for the reason of wanting precision. Number 2 was ask a question about you. People love talking or thinking about themselves, especially you fucking narcissist. Finally, I asked you a series of morality-based questions to gauge 3 critical faculties. Fairness and resource allocation, risk in decision-making, and social or legal judgment. For the money allocation problem, was the amount of money you gave to the man more than you gave to yourself? Was it a significant amount more? Did it meet his debt threshold, and then some? Did you try to rationalize giving him less by concluding he was a deadbeat for gambling? Studies show that mortality salience, when somebody's consciously aware of their inevitable death, increases selfishness and leads to less equitable allocations in questions like these, particularly in those with lower self-control, so there you go. For the disease problem, did you rationalize that lives will be lost regardless, and so the best outcome was to go for saving the 600? Studies show that without the mention of death, the choice is overwhelmingly to guarantee the saving of 200 people, whereas mortality salience swings the scales towards the riskier option. Lastly, for the bail money problem, did you rationalize that Class A drugs are a potential cause for death in millions per year? that drug addiction is a sinister spiral that the lady propagated for profit? Well, studies show that the mortality salient group in this study that I've conducted on you because you had no choice in the matter, or you did, but I forced you because you're watching this video and I'm just fucking... They demanded, on average, $400 more than the group who wasn't reminded of death. Why? Well, when we are reminded of death, we get existential anxiety. Some of us. The fucking weak. Who fucking gets that shit? No, but even if you think you're content with the idea of death, the science shows our brain chemistry changes temporarily while we're still reminded of it, till you inevitably forget about it again. And then a new sxrawn upload comes along and he's talking about death again. Shock. Who's tuning in this time, guys? 4 of you? That's okay. But we might become more patriotic, placing commitment and value into things that will decidedly outlast us, like a nation, or land, or heritage, or culture. All of that acts as a comforting reminder that things will go on without us, and it is comforting knowing that even if it feels slightly unfair, the end of us isn't the end of everything. So, to the supposedly stalwart you down there, anybody who threatens the well-being or livelihood of such succession, such culture, such quote-unquote heritage, is dealt with accordingly. Your decision-making really is influenced by such a silly little word and such a silly little concept one learns at the age of 7. Well, if you were exposed to the internet young enough, that is. An uncontrollable thing tethered to very controllable things. A foreboding inevitability for each and every one of us. Just by simply hearing or seeing the word, the way you go about your day fundamentally changes. That promise from the universe. But oh no, you decided to click on this video. You didn't get gamed by the algorithm. No, you decided to eat fast food, or you decided to stay up and watch the Game of Thrones till your eyes water from fatigue. Oh, sxrawn, what does that have to do with anything? So what if I'm impressionable? I'm still an individual person. Even if the system of the entire brain is me, at least I'm one person. Right, yeah. We're still clinging onto the notion of the self like a pathetic little rodent. Well, let's see what Roger Sperry has to say about that. He conducted a study in 1968 where he collected people who had a corpus callosotomy, a surgery that severs the bridge between the two hemispheres of the brain to help manage severe epilepsy. He would get these people to focus on a central dot and then flash a word on the right-hand side of the screen, and then the left. When words were flashed on the right side, the participants were able to recite them back easily. For words flashed on the left, though, they were apparently none the wiser. The most interesting part of the study, though, was after being given a pen in their left hand, after seemingly missing the left word, they would fucking draw the exact thing, no matter the word. When asked why they just decided to draw a cowboy hat, they would say something to the tune of, "fuck knows." Weirder yet, if an instruction was flashed on their left side, such as "go walk to the door," they would immediately do so. But upon questioning, literally just make up an answer and fully believe it. Some said they wanted to go and grab water, even though, believe it or not, doors do not dispense water. Some said they went to go grab their jacket but got turned around. The reason for all that confusion is that the right hemisphere of the brain is responsible for processing the left visual field. And when the corpus callosum is severed, the right hemisphere cannot communicate its visual data to the language hub in the left hemisphere of the brain. The left brain is our interpreter, excelling at analytical processing and language, while the right brain excels at context, bigger picture thinking, and spatial reasoning. There are two entities in there, wrestling for autonomy, fighting to grab a hold of the ever-elusive self. That internal struggle, amalgamating to form the entire you. At the very least, yourself can undoubtedly be split into parts, but if we just scrutinise those parts, and then the parts that make up those parts, and then those parts, which of them, if any, don't turn to dust? Oh look, another qualia video. Oh, we know what black holes are made out of, but we don't know what's going on inside our own minds. Feeling's weird, isn't it? Shut up! Tired. I'm tired of the same old talking points with the same wishy-washiness about how cool experience is, so I'm gonna solve the thing once and for all. Here, in this sxrawn video. Who's with me? Sxrawn on 3. 1, 2, 3. Sxrawn. To get us to an answer, one that is wrong, but at least we won't be a fucking fence sitter, I'd like to employ the trusty sxrawn method. It's a special move of mine. Basically, to find out how things work functionally, we must turn it off to observe the differences in the machine when it's awake. Put the gun down. No, not like that. The second best, most controllable way we've managed to employ this, functionally, without death, is anesthesia. Seeing videos of people high on painkillers or still woozy from anesthetics freaked me out when I was a kid, as they do now. I won't go into my incapacitating fear of sleep that made anesthesia even scarier, but when these people were awake, seeing them behave so alien is disturbing to me. How can a drip, a few little substances in an IV, alter a person's mind so far as to make them a whole different individual, changing everything recognisable about them completely? It's safe to say I carried this dread with me to other perfectly legal, mind-altering substances, but when I inevitably did get stuck in, or peer pressured, it wasn't really scary at all. I just found everything about 400% funnier. I hallucinated for like 5 to 10 minutes, and then explained to my friend how I figured out all the secrets to the universe. All the while he stared back at me looking like this fellow. My personality had changed, my ego went on holiday, but I didn't feel like a different person. And I realised then, even in that inebriated state, that this is what I am. A boat riding waves, and not the ocean itself. I mean everything I had formerly associated myself with. My hobbies, my ideologies. How wrong was I? Like tying one's identity to things they can't control, like ancestry or birthplace, I had left all of myself in the care of the world. But as we soon find out when we grow up, the world scarcely cares back. Because whatever you might think about yourself, whoever you might think you are, you're wrong. You think you're currently a viewer, or you think you're the neurons acting as a medium for said viewing. Have you really learned nothing? You're not the team that took us to the moon, and you're not the astronaut who first stepped foot there. You're not the man who discovered our origin, and you're not the team who mapped it. You are not a degenerate loser. You're wearing these things like skin. And even if the real you has no agency over what you're tempted by, or basically anything really, you could always, and I mean always, just do boatloads of drugs and feel super good for a little bit. Alright. I was joking about the drugs bit. And I know it all sounded a bit mystical, a bit like bullshit, but I truly believe anesthesia really is the key to figuring out what's hiding under there, and I'm determined to prove it. If only somebody cleverer than me figured out what anesthesia did to shut consciousness off, because that would give us a major clue into what's at play here. If only there was somebody really clever that had the confidence to use their expertise to show us a way out of the woods. Well, ladies and gentlemen, do I have news for you? Because there is a guy, an anesthesiologist by the name of Stuart Hameroff. And can one of these clever bastards have an uncool name, no? I feel like the names give them some sort of scientific advantage, but I need proof. Anyway, Stuart was reading a book one day, the fucking nerd, called The Emperor's Mind. It was about how human thought involves understanding aided by quantum-level brain processes that computer science can't emulate, essentially meaning our cognition cannot be replicated by AI. It's a bit like trying to solve an impossibly difficult mathematics problem with brute force algorithmic sorting or whatnot, only to find mathematics Mr. Cool Name took salvia and lived as a peanut for 40 years before having the answer come to him while laying on the floor drooling. Humans understand shit, which is ironically impossibly tricky to understand. What's the bridge that makes us intuitively know something, like how I know never to trust Yeri Prochaska again, and how you know never to click on a video by that green little stickbug YouTuber again, as opposed to just having the memory of it stored in a databank of sorts? Well, potentially the grief of seeing Yeri get put on a t-shirt for no fucking reason helped me to understand, and perhaps the feeling of regret after having spent your valuable time here helped you to understand. Well, a Sir Roger Penrose thus speculated that said experience, which aids understanding, was facilitated by quantum mechanics in the brain. But the issue is, even in granting his wacky theory, where would said quantum consciousness be in the brain? Well, Hameroff, in a blaze of legendary confidence, wrote to Penrose saying he knew where they were. Straight up. He didn't say he thought he knew or anything, he just said he knew. He aura-farmed before we had a word for it. But how did he come to that staunch conclusion anyway? Well, ladies and gentlemen, he utilised the patented sxrawn method. After years of putting mystery chemicals into people and watching them start to see flying animals, then watching them drift off into unconsciousness, he was quite the dab hand at monitoring the differences between an off-brain and an on-brain. While alive. Both brains were alive. But in his expertise, the location of said quantum phenomena revealed itself to him by virtue of how anesthesia works. Eukaryotic cells in the brain have structures called microtubules which maintain neuron structure and control cell division. And they influence transport of shit between cells. And they regulate synaptic plasticity by growing and shrinking. And they even flick the traffic lights from red to green and a bunch of other wonderful shit. These were the only assumed functions of microtubules for ages, but Hameroff suspected otherwise, and for good reason. The tubules are made of something called crystalline lattice proteins. A few aspiring chemists who do boring shit like actually study would know that these are highly ordered, repeating structures with unique properties that happen to be kind to quantum states. This wasn't enough for the ball to drop alone, though. The anesthesia was the key player. Commercial anesthesia contains something called isoflurane, I think I've said that wrong, which binds to these cytoskeletal microtubules and dampens quantum states, which then leads to unconsciousness. The combination of these two facts led to Hameroff coming to the conclusion that this was where the magic happened. Not in the bedroom, but in quantum microtubules. Not in the bedroom of people who watch consciousness videos on the internet, at least. Or Radiohead fans. Anesthesia leading to unconsciousness by dampening microtubules is evidenced by the fact that chemotherapy stabilizes them, and anesthesia has a reduced effectiveness on chemo patients. So, Hameroff and Penrose collab on a hit new research paper to posit the theory of Orch-OR. Orchestrated Objective Reduction. The idea follows that quantum bits exist in superposition in these microtubules which evolve coherently for a small moment determined by electrical activity in the brain. Quantum coherency is just when something on the quantum level exists in multiple states. How? What the fuck? Now, if your brain isn't already leaking out of your ears, this next part will tip you over the edge. We've already established particles can exist in multiple states at once. That means they can be in multiple energy configurations at one time. The issue is, mass and energy impact space-time in Einstein's field equations, as I'm about to show you. Right, so this thing is the Einstein tensor. The little one is the metric tensor. This T1 is the stress energy tensor. The upside down incomplete triangle is the cosmological constant, and K is the Einstein gravitational constant. I know these probably mean mostly nothing to you, as they do to me, but the one we're looking out for is the stress energy tensor, which basically packages energy density, momentum, flow of energy, and pressure or stress. The way this works is, imagine we had a particle at position X. T mu v would equal mass located at position X. I know it's a silly explanation, but I don't even get this stuff, so do bear with me. Now, if we have a particle in superposition, because there are two simultaneous values for energy or position, we get T mu v 1 in brackets and T mu v 2 in brackets, which leaves us with two equations. That not only means we get two values for space, but we also get two values for time. Particles in superposition, Penrose thus theorizes, don't collapse when observed like those pesky Copenhagen theorists believe. Instead, one quantum particle exists in multiple positions, and so multiple space-time geometries at the same time, which each define their own notion of time. This creates an instability, as you might imagine, which Penrose says, and I'm not so sure I fucking believe him anymore at this point, that tau equals h over eg, where tau is the time until collapse, and eg is the gravitational difference between the two possible mass configurations. The funky h bar is just a constant from quantum mechanics. Okay, you got all that? There will be a test at the end. What's tau? No rewinding. Good. That was the worst it'll get. Potentially. That statement exists in superposition. Back to consciousness then. When this quantum shit collapses in the brain, it's called an objective reduction. Each collapse produces a crystalline moment of experience, which then means consciousness isn't continuous. It's like a sequence, a bit like a game. And it's funny because these rapid collapses are called frames, and it's speculated we get 40 of them per second. We have a CPU bottleneck. Till now, our investigation has been contingent on the fact that delocalized electrons exist in superposition within the microtubules of neurons. That they act like qubits that interact, entangle, and compute all over the brain, orchestrated by protons attached to the tubules. I have been making a conscious effort, though, to avoid the ugliest of refutations, because it may just be one that halts us in our tracks and brings us back to square one in trying to unify consciousness with a scientific model. Quantum entanglement is very tricky to hold without a disturbance collapsing it altogether. Atoms vibrate when they're warm and bump into quantum particles. Electric fields or photons can push and pull on them. Cosmic background radioactivity passes through everything, and a single subatomic particle can slice through air and break coherence. Even excited electrons themselves release photons to dump energy, which reveals the particle's state and ends entanglement. And the brain is wet and noisy, and if you're like me, it went through its fair share of blunt force trauma when in childhood, which might explain a thing or two. No, I didn't get hit during childhood. But how would these quantum didgeridoos be maintained in a meat machine as fucking just shit as yours? Orch-OR was unfortunately a stillborn theory. It came eventually, but it was dead on arrival. Except, robins are known to migrate huge distances via very accurate navigation. Upon further investigation, it was discovered that they use the Earth's magnetic field as a compass of sorts. But what is the mechanism going on there? The one allowing them to play Superman? A really shit Superman, granted, but still, what is it? In the eye of the robin is a protein called cryptochrome 4. It produces radical pairs where electron spins are influenced by the Earth's magnetic field. These electron spins exist in quantum superposition from which the radicals are formed. These little balls of electric fucking confusion have been measured to move along the protein wholly sensitive to magnetism. The protein interacts with a specific type of signaling molecule in the eye. The signaling molecule converts light into electrical signals in their visual enterprise, and using crazy clever imaging techniques, brilliant scientists revealed a potential visual of how this affects their vision, how they see this magnetic data to be able to follow true north. European robins maintain quantum entanglement in the eye 20 microseconds longer than our best laboratories. Plants utilize quantum coherence in photosynthesis, where excited electrons explore multiple paths at the same time, choosing the most effective route at, room fucking temperature. These discoveries show us that the debate is no longer about whether quantum biology is possible, but how it's possible. But even then, it's not so simple. Conscious perception in the brain operates on the scale of tens to hundreds of milliseconds, whereas robins hold superposition for 1 to 10,000 times shorter. Preventing environmental collapse of our electrons while scaling up to the quantity needed for a gravity-induced collapse is an incredibly steep requirement for physics. But it does deal with the old dogma that biology hasn't got stock in the bottom floor of reality. Even now, scientists are conducting more recent simulations and lab experiments investigating whether microtubules have unique structural properties that shield quantum states longer than previously expected. We are just on the precipice of discoveries that might prove biology has figured out how to give consciousness to the messiness of an alive, thinking mind. And all of that means that the brain might not just be an albeit well-designed, primitive lump of evolved flesh, but an intricate architecture serving as a bridge between the quantum world and the one more familiar to us. Architecture cementing one of the infinite possibilities into reality. Do me a favour and look up at the stars once more and remind yourself, stars are so small, they're just little dots in the sky. Who cares? But you are enormous. Till now, everything I've spoken about in regards to consciousness has been compatible with personal identity, but I beg to differ. Because with the introduction of the next section, you'll see that there are no definitive boundaries confining consciousness in rooms of you, and your mother, and your cat. Or mine, for that matter. Have you ever heard of spooky action at a distance? There's a joke to be made there somewhere, but I'm too tired. I'm coming up short. Distance? Hey? Yeah, I get it, that was bad. Instead of me explaining anything, just go ask your mother anyway. Spooky action at a distance? That's the best I could do. When two electrons are in quantum entanglement, measuring one state, because we know superpositions can grant a particle multiple states at once, instantaneously defines the state of the other. For example, if there's an electron existing as a 60% top spin and 40% bottom spin whirligig, were I to shoot its quantumly entangled pair off to the other side of the universe and measure one of them, the other would instantaneously snap into the opposite. This one is top spin, so this one is instantly defined as a bottom spin. Removing quantum coherence from one of them removes it from its pair seemingly faster than the speed of light. Of course we know that can't be true because Einstein said so and he had the honorary crazy grey hair. And he's right in this instance, because nothing is actually travelling, for it is not a signal mediated by space. They just share one quantum state, baked into the cake batter of reality. Which means quantum mechanics, and thus consciousness, unlock non-locality. And it also means, if you're willing to grant me, the small concession of you being quantum fucking soup, it means consciousness is decidedly not confined to the skull. At the deepest level of universe, there are no things moving through space. It is a dream catcher of interactions and ones and zeros, and we live in a simulation, and you're not real, and wake up, and wake up, wake up. Which applies the same principles to consciousness. If said quantum mechanics facilitate it, coherent processes that bind the brain into a single quantum state make the man, not clothes. Because of non-locality and the dream catcher of law and states that things operate by, space might not even be needed as a medium at all. It may be possible, then, to be possible outside the universe itself. Our theory also solves a major issue with consciousness discourse in what's called the binding problem. You see, the brain conglomerates a myriad of sensory information into one comprehensible moment. The sheer amount of data we are given day by day should not be integrated into such a seamless movie. Orch-OR solves this issue by stating that quantum coherence means entangled systems, like the mind, behave as one system, even when these processes are spatially distributed in the brain. MRIs tell this same story when distant regions of the brain correlate to one another, which is inexplicable classically. And in circling back to our hemispherically challenged friends, when living day to day, it is impossible to tell that there is anything different about them. They think like us, they speak like us. They, like they're fucking aliens. And yet, there are two separate minds up there. So why is their consciousness still unified? It seems again like we've unlocked another clue into our investigation of mind versus matter. A clue that maybe people missed the mark by saying consciousness is illusory, because how can it be? Because it never felt that way, anyway. As is made evident, after a certain intimacy of the quantum and studies, the conversation starts to wobble and we find the discussion takes more of a theological detour. But that's the interesting part, really. What I've said so far, and I've said a lot, so I'm proud of the mental reps your attention span has undertaken, unless you watched this video in 2 sittings, you slime ball, doesn't really give us much of a satisfying conclusion to the intro, does it? It's been a fairly long build-up for what implications it all has, so let's talk about what it means for the universe. Oh, but if you disagree with me, you're going to hell. Hoffman developed a theory called, evolution? No, not that one. But contingent to this theory is the idea that if space-time was fundamental, there's no incentive to hide it from our perception. A bit like a computer user interface hiding the code by running it all with a pretty picture. Or RAM-guzzling search bars nobody uses. Or hundreds and thousands of widgets nobody asked for. Or news from dubious sources nobody neither trusts nor needs. Yeah, no, please tell me why high-maintenance hair looks are firmly outdated in 2024. God, I just need to know which low-light indoor plants thrive in dark rooms. You don't get it. And why did we skip Windows 9? You're telling me the world's entire online enterprise runs on silly superstition? Whatever. What's the code equivalent to space-time in our universe, in my brilliantly unique and not woefully overdone analogy? In his model, it's conscious agents. Not human minds, not brains, not me and you. Minimal foundational units of experience, interacting and forming the dream catchers I mentioned earlier, or rather generating physical matter, or rather our perception of it all. In other words, thinly veiled affirmation of what that one guy said. Buddha was his name, I think? Keep in mind the observer-dependent nature of quantumly coherent matter, and just how well does consciousness being at the bottom floor align with that? Fuck the many worlds theory. Wrong. Buzzer noise. Easy way out. No, it's not the easy way out. I just want to save it for a different video where I could pretend that's objective truth instead. Come on guys, use your brain, keep up with the program. All that matters is the conveyor belt in the content machine. In other words, matter doesn't give rise to consciousness. Foundational consciousness gives rise to matter's appearance. Or something. I know it sounds like panpsychism, but it's not. Physical shit is actually emergent here, remember? Do you remember? You know when somebody said you are something everything is doing? Try the fact that you are everything something is doing. Putting on a VR headset that is the brain and pretending you're the character inside. And so the next time somebody tells you that stupid fucking fact that stars died to make you, tell them fuck off. I am a star, and a black hole, and all of the physics you're made out of, and I'm you, and I'm me, and I'm sxrawn. Yeah, I might have finally lost it. But we are all one, like the hydrogen atoms that make up a star, or the ones that make up the ocean. And isn't that just ripe for poetry? Imagine the gall that raw consciousness had to take up living as an aware thing. To take up dying as a confused one. Countless discoveries from him, and her, and him, and her. But after all of that, why does it still feel like a dream I can't quite wake from? Still no answers then, no? Let me try Google. The observer effect tells us that particles lack definitive properties like position or momentum until they're observed or measured. The very act of observation collapses a wave of probabilities into a physical reality. The concept of Maya in Buddhism posits that the material world we perceive as solid and distinct is a projection of a deeper, singular reality. That the multiplicity of objects is an illusion arising from a conditioned consciousness. Quantum entanglement shows us that subatomic particles can become instantaneously correlated over vast distances. Now this obviously defies our classic limits of space and time. Advaita translates to non-dual or not to. It states that there is no fundamental separation between the observer and the observed. That everything is an interconnected manifestation of a single, ultimate reality. That reality being Brahman. No matter the method we took to get there, at the end of it all, the question isn't whether consciousness fits into our picture of science, but whether our picture of science was ever even complete without it. We are the universe experiencing itself. But outside that, but outside that, but outside that. Basically just transcendental idealism, really. I could do with a break from it all, though. Given consciousness can't experience its own absence, it means I have to either die forever or live as long as forever. God, make it stop. And all of this, Orch-OR, it's still controversial. Physicists doubt that gravity-induced quantum collapse has fucking anything to do with experience. Neuroscientists are undecided. Hoffman's model isn't empirically verifiable. I wasted your time, alright? Just, I'm a dirty fence sitter.